Time now for another In the Legal Know. Vincent J. Russo here to talk about no surprise medical bills. Today, Vincent addressing the No Surprise Act, which protects consumers from surprise medical bills, which we do not want.
That's right. Who wants a surprise bill?
Oh, nobody.
And we all worry about it. It's hard enough to just understand the billing, never mind to when you receive a surprise bill.
Right.
So good news, the federal government stepped in and passed a law, the No Surprises Act, for medical billing. And it became effective January 1st of 2022. So in the big picture, the No Surprises Act covers emergency billing, and that was the number one priority of the bill, covers out-of-network billing. So those are non-emergency services at an in-network facility. Dispute resolution, so a process when it doesn't go right, there's an opportunity to dispute the bill. So that could be a dispute between the plan coverage and the provider, or it could be the individual patient who's disputing a bill. And then the right to get good faith estimates if you're self-paying the bill or you don't have insurance.
So what are surprise bills? Because yes, I think many of us have gotten them.
Right. So simply put, a surprise bill, and it's exactly what it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
It's when you go to the doctor, you go to a hospital, there's an emergency, and you receive services. And you give them your insurance card. So we're talking about group insurance or private insurance plans. And you give the card and you think you're okay, right? Or if it's an emergency, you don't even have time. You need the care. You need the surgeon. You need the services immediately.
Right.
So the hope is that you're going to be fine with the care, and you're not going to get slammed with a big bill, but a lot of surprises. So I looked at some statistics. 60% of consumers are concerned when they see a doctor or receive a service that they're going to receive a surprise bill. 20% of emergency bills and 10% of elective surgeries carry that risk. And about 1 out of every 5 cases, the individual finds out that they're out of pocket somewhere between $750 and $2,600. Now, this is before the law was changed. Now, also air ambulances, that's a big one. The cost there, $10,000 to $20,000 or more, and you could be out of network. So they wanted to change the law to step in. And then lastly, surprise billing where it's more than you thought it would be. And if it's over $400, 40% of us have to borrow money to pay the bill. So something had to be done. Now, some states stepped in before the law changed federally, and they passed really good protective laws like New York has done. About 18 states, and 15 passed some protections, but not as good as the federal. So the No Surprises Act is like the floor. It's to make sure at the very least everyone in the country receives these protections.
So let's talk about the protections. What are the protections, if I have health insurance?
Okay. So there are certain what we'll call bans on billing. You know, you're not going to be billed or be responsible if you are. So let's look at emergency services first. Those are services in a hospital and out-of-network emergency services in a hospital. So if you rush to a hospital, it may be covered with your insurance plan, or it may not be covered because you're out of network. So we wanted to build in protections that you would only be charged what you would have been charged in network. So the co-pays and the co-insurance, they still apply, but not at the out-of-network rate. So one of the things that was happening, and this is important to understand, is once you went out of network, there's this concept called balanced billing. And balanced billing is when the provider says, well, you received coverage under the in-network, and we're going to charge you the difference between what we want to charge and what they covered. And those bills could be fairly significant for people.
Because you weren't choosing to go out of
Right.
network. You know, you're in an emergency room, and whoever, the anesthesiologist or the doctor, you're not making a choice there.
That's right.
Okay.
So let's look at out-of-network charges.
Okay.
These can be non-emergency charges in a hospital, outpatient department, or an ambulatory surgical center. And also, as we were talking just before we came on, if you're in a hospital and receiving services and then the anesthesiologist steps in or the radiologist, they may be out of network. So in the past, you could have been charged the additional charges for that. Now this protects you. And then air ambulance services are now protected, which is really important.
Right. Because that is obviously the ultimate emergency is happening if you need an air ambulance and you have, you know,
You've
got to be
you're being
covered.
medevac to a trauma center.
Yes.
And the last thing is, did you check to see if it was in network or how much it was going to cost?
Wow.
I mean, we shouldn't receive care that way.
Exactly.
And have that concern.
I'm so happy you're talking about this because I think among our friends, we're always talking, you know, you get these strange surprise bills that people don't know about the act. Now, what if I don't have health insurance?
All right.
Are there protections?
There are now also protections there. If you don't have health insurance or you want to self-pay, which some people opt to do, you have a right to dispute the claim if you're charged more than what's called a good faith estimate by $400. So if you receive, you're entitled now to a good faith estimate, and if you get a bill more than $400 than what they said it was going to be, you have a right to dispute that claim. And if you're unhappy, and you have to file within 120 days of when you receive the bill. So that's important. If you're unhappy with the facility, the provider, or the insurer, then you can file a complaint with CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, if you believe they're not following the rules.
Okay.
All right.
So before the federal act was passed, you're saying not every state had these protections. So now, like New York, did it change anything with this federal act?
Well, I think in New York may be one of the exceptions where we had very strong protections in place. But in many, many states, there were either no protection or it was partial protection. Now, when the law was passed, it was passed with an understanding that the states would implement the federal law.
Okay.
All right? So the key is that if, regardless of what state you're in, if you receive what you think is a surprise bill, go onto the government website of that state, you know, do the search, No Surprises Act, and then see what the procedures are for filing a dispute resolution or a claim.
Okay, your advice for anybody out there, this advice too, is like, I just feel like a lot of people don't know about this, and they might be paying bills that they don't have to pay. Do you think that's still happening?
Oh, it is happening, and I worry about the seniors who may not be as sharp, or even younger people. These bills can be confusing.
Exactly.
So read through what you receive in the mail. Try to get help and support. There are a number of not-for-profit agencies that will help you if you're concerned about whether it's right or wrong. And as I said, dispute it. You just dispute it with the carrier, and then you have rights to dispute it at a higher level.
Right. Okay, boy.
All right.
Very, very important information, Vincent. Thank you so much for being here today.
My pleasure.